It's Iran and their proxies who have threatened to retaliate against you and your team by killing you guys for taking out Soleimani.
Well, they haven't done that, and that would be a terrible thing for them to do, not because of me. If they did that, they would be obliterated. That'd be the end. I've left instructions. If they do it, they get obliterated. There won't be anything left. And they shouldn't be able to do it. And Biden should have said that, but he never did. I don't know why, lack of intelligence, perhaps. But he never said it. If that happens to a leader, or close to a leader, frankly, if you had other people involved also, you would call for total obliteration of a state that did it. That would include Iran.
Iran's foreign minister says progress has been made in nuclear talks with the US and Switzerland. Live to our Washington correspondent, Jono Kersley. Jono, good morning to you. Afternoon where you are. Positive signs, but it followed a major threat to the US from Iran's supreme leader.
Positive signs indeed, the words from Iran's foreign minister, but the Ayatollah, who's never backwards in going forwards with his language, threatening to target US military ships in and around the region. What the Iranian state media did was release footage that it says was military drills in the Strait of Hormuz, claiming that it had shut down the shipping laneway that carries 20% of the world's oil through this very particular laneway. These talks were described as indirect in their nature. President Trump had said he would take part indirectly in the negotiations that are all aimed at Iran's nuclear enrichment program. And Pete, before these talks took place, we saw Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, Donald Trump's Middle East envoy and son-in-law sit down with Iranian officials. Clearly they are trying to talk with and negotiate with regional players in what is going to be a crucial path forward, because President Trump has been ramping up the pressure, particularly in recent weeks around the Iranian regime, warning that Iran does not want to see the consequences of what could come if indeed a deal is not struck. But those words from the Ayatollah, well, they were very, very forceful and very threatening. Let's hear some of that now.
The US president keeps saying our military is the strongest military in the world. The world's most powerful military can sometimes receive such a slap that it can no longer stay on its feet.
Pete, interestingly, so far, no real response publicly from the United States side on these negotiations. The president had been seeking another round of talks with Iran, basically aimed at trying to stop their enrichment programs, get Iran to walk back from supporting proxies, and also trying to reduce their stockpile of ballistic missiles in the region. Of course, he held talks with Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House last week, behind closed doors, no cameras today. But Iran's foreign minister did indicate that good progress had been made on guiding principles to resolve the dispute over Tehran's nuclear program. Speaking after the talks were held in Geneva, this is some of what Iran's foreign minister had to say.
Iran has consistently pursued a strategy aimed at the peaceful use of nuclear energy, while demonstrating readiness to address any concerns regarding the nature of its nuclear program and to ensure its exclusively peaceful character.
So, Pete, well, what to make of today? Positive steps forward, but you've got the Ayatollah on one hand with strong language about targeting American ships and the American president on the other insisting that there will be severe consequences if a deal is not struck. This very much still remains a pressure point and a region that is on a knife's edge as the United States and Iran try and find some way to forge some sort of agreement. Or we wait to see what comes next.
Donald Trump, he's sending a second aircraft carrier to Iran, the world's biggest, the most advanced aircraft carrier. At the same time, the US and Iranian negotiators, as you know, General, they're in Switzerland right now, supposedly working on an agreement, a sort of peace deal, an agreement on Iran's nuclear weapons program. Here is President Trump about the aircraft carrier.
Second aircraft carrier that you decided to send. Talk about why you made that choice.
Well, in case we don't make a deal, we'll need it. If we don't have a deal, we'll need it. If we have a deal, we could cut it short. It'll be leaving.
To me, General, Iran is not going to give up its nuclear weapons. There will not be any real sustainable peace deal. Is the US actually just buying time for all its forces to be in place for a strike?
I do think President Trump, in earnest, is trying to make a nuclear deal. It is a pattern of behavior that he has displayed. He tried to do this prior to the 12-day war. He gave Iran 60 days to make a deal. On the 61st day, Israel attacked Iran, and obviously the United States destroyed their nuclear enterprise as it existed at the time and brought the war to termination. And then in Venezuela, he offered many times, I think 3 or 4, Maduro an exit out of there, an airplane and in immunity from prosecution, a reasonable country of his choice. And he refused all of those overtures. And we saw what happened. We conducted a military operation to indeed capture him and bring him to justice. I believe the path that we're really on here, I agree with you, I don't see Iran making a deal. After all, President Trump, I think, knows what a good deal is. He's the one that terminated the U.S. participation in the nuclear deal that Obama put together in 2015. And in 2018, Trump rejected that and pulled out of it. And the basic reason is because in 15 years, in other words, in 2030, Iran had no restrictions on it in the development of nuclear weapons, regardless of the numbers of weapons, which was an absurdity in of itself, because the purpose of the deal was to prohibit the manufacture of nuclear weapons. So here we are again. And listen, when we're talking about this nuclear, let's put some facts on the ground. Iran doesn't have a nuclear program right now or a nuclear enterprise. It has been destroyed. They will have to recover it. And we're talking about something in the future, not something that's now. And believe me, I think we know where they fully intend to begin that recovery. And once that starts, it's likely that Israel would take it down pretty quickly. If they needed help, we would participate in it. And also, in the deal, if we're not talking about ballistic missiles, which is Iran's only conventional capability of any consequence, huge amount of medium-range ballistic missiles, rockets, short-range, and certainly probably hundreds, if not thousands, of drones. If the ballistic missiles aren't on the table, then we should pull out of the negotiations and just literally walk away. I really think the preferred option and the most likely option is to combine Israel and United States attack to clearly do a number of things. One, to set the conditions for regime collapse, leadership targets, the entire infrastructure that sustains this regime. The IRGC, the police force itself, the Basel militia, the defense industrial base, and yes, simultaneously take down air defense systems and the ballistic medium-range missiles, drones, and rockets. A comprehensive attack that the regime will not be able to recover from, and they will be on a pathway for its collapse. I think that is the preferred option, and as I indicated, I believe that's the one we will likely execute.
General Keane, thank you so much indeed for your insights. Really appreciated.